Welcome to today's Tea Time audio story. It's time to slow down, take a deep breath, and enjoy a moment just for you. As you sip your favorite tea, let your mind drift into the world of stories, where imagination comes alive and anything is possible. Listening to audio stories isn't just entertaining, it's also a wonderful way to relax, spark creativity, and improve your English in a natural and enjoyable way. Stories have the power to transport us to far-off places, introduce us to new characters, and remind us of life's little lessons. So whether you're here to unwind, learn something new, or simply enjoy a quiet escape, this is your time. Get comfortable, let your worries melt away, and allow today's story to take you on a journey. Let the magic begin. The hospital had finally released Ethan's grandmother, and although her steps were slow and her movements careful, there was a gentle radiance about her that spoke of hope and recovery. The news spread quickly, and the air in Ethan's home was filled with a tentative joy, a promise of better days ahead. After weeks of uncertainty and long, anxious hours, it was time to celebrate life, to cherish the memories of the past, and to embrace the promise of the future. Ethan's father, who had been the quiet pillar of strength throughout the ordeal, had arranged a small, intimate gathering at home. It was a modest affair, but for Ethan and his family, it was a moment of immense relief. And Sophia, who had stood by Ethan through every challenge, decided it was finally time to visit his grandmother, something she had hesitated to do until now. It was a crisp, clear morning when Sophia arrived at Ethan's house. The air was filled with the gentle hum of life, birds chirping, the soft rustle of leaves, and a sense of anticipation that hung over the day like a promise. Sophia clutched a bouquet of bright, cheerful flowers, sunflowers and daisies that seemed to embody hope and renewal, and took a deep breath before knocking on the door. Ethan's father opened it, his face breaking into a warm, welcoming smile. "Sophia, thank you for coming," he said, ushering her inside. The house was filled with a gentle energy, a mixture of relief and cautious optimism. In the living room, Ethan's grandmother sat in her favorite armchair, draped in a soft knitted shawl. Her eyes, though tired, sparkled with the same lively spirit she had once possessed in her youth. As Sophia entered, her eyes met the old woman's, and a slow smile spread across her face. "Mrs. Thompson," Sophia greeted warmly, holding out the bouquet. "I brought these for you. I thought they might brighten the room a little." The elderly woman's face lit up with a tender smile. "Oh, Sophia," she said, her voice gentle and full of nostalgia, "you always had a way of making me feel young again. I remember the days when you and Ethan would come running here after school, full of energy and mischief." Ethan, who had been quietly watching from the doorway, stepped forward. "I almost forgot those days," he said softly, his voice filled with wistfulness. He glanced at Sophia, his eyes conveying a silent thank you for bridging the gap between past and present. That day was devoted entirely to memories, a gentle journey back to the days when laughter was plentiful and every moment felt magical. The trio settled in the cozy living room, surrounded by old photo albums, mementos, and the familiar scent of home. Ethan's grandmother had insisted on taking them through a box of old photographs, each picture a portal to a time when life was simpler. As they sifted through the albums, memories unfurled like delicate petals. There were pictures of a young Ethan, carefree and exuberant, playing in the garden, and snapshots of Sophia and Ethan, hand in hand, laughing at secret jokes that only they understood. Every photograph told a story, a friendship, a family, of a bond that had grown stronger over time. "Do you remember this day?" Ethan's grandmother asked, pointing to a faded photo of a little boy and a girl, both grinning wildly as they built a makeshift treehouse in the backyard. You two were always inseparable, always getting into trouble and finding adventure in every corner of the house. Sophia's eyes glistened with tears of nostalgia. I remember it like it was yesterday, she said softly. I used to think that the world was full of endless possibilities, and every day was an adventure. Ethan smiled, a bittersweet expression on his face. Those were the best days, he murmured. We didn't know how to worry about the future. All we cared about was being together, laughing and living in the moment. His grandmother reached out, patting his hand gently. And those memories, my dear, are what keep us strong. They remind us that no matter how hard life gets, there is always joy to be found, always love to be shared. As the day unfolded, the atmosphere shifted from quiet reminiscence to gentle laughter and playful banter. After flipping through countless albums, they moved to the kitchen, where Ethan's grandmother decided to bake cookies, a tradition that had filled many a childhood with sweet joy. The kitchen was alive with activity, the clatter of utensils, the soft hum of the oven, and the warm, inviting aroma of freshly baked treats. Sophia and Ethan worked side by side, their movements in perfect synchrony. Sophia stirred the batter with a practiced grace, while Ethan carefully measured out ingredients, both of them caught up in the comforting rhythm of the task. There was an ease between them, a sense of homecoming and belonging that made the hours pass in a joyful blur. I remember when I was little, you used to sneak a taste of the cookie dough, Ethan's grandmother said, her voice filled with fondness as she watched the two of them. And you always laughed when I caught you. Ethan chuckled. I don't know if I'd call it sneaking, it was more like, I couldn't wait to taste the sweetness of life. Sophia laughed softly, shaking her head. You were always such a little troublemaker, Ethan. Their shared laughter filled the room, creating an atmosphere that was both light and healing. The simple act of baking became a powerful reminder that amidst the hardships and uncertainties, life still offered moments of pure, unadulterated joy. Later in the afternoon, after the cookies had been baked and the dishes cleaned up, the three of them gathered around the living room again. This time, instead of photo albums, they turned to storytelling. Ethan's grandmother, with a sparkle in her eyes, began recounting tales of her own youth, stories filled with adventure, love, and the simple pleasures of a bygone era. Sophia listened intently, her eyes wide with wonder as she absorbed every detail. Ethan, too, was captivated. It was as if those stories were a bridge, connecting the past to the present, reminding them of the roots that had shaped their lives. She used to dance all night at summer festivals, his grandmother recalled, her voice animated as she described her youth. And I always dreamed of a love that would last forever. I see that same spark in you too. Ethan looked at Sophia, a smile tugging at his lips. Maybe one day, we'll have our own stories to tell, he said softly. Sophia's heart fluttered at his words, the promise of a future filled with shared memories and unwavering love. I can't wait for that day, she replied, her voice full of hope. As the sun began to set, casting a warm, golden glow over the quiet neighborhood, the day's festivities slowly came to an end. Ethan's grandmother, now looking much more at ease, settled into her favorite armchair with a contented sigh. The laughter and joy of the day had worked their magic, weaving a tapestry of memories that would forever be cherished. Ethan and Sophia stood at the doorway, the cool evening air brushing against their faces. There was a bittersweet quality to the farewell, a silent acknowledgement that while the day had been filled with happiness, the challenges of life were never truly behind them. Thank you for today, Ethan said quietly, his voice filled with genuine gratitude. I needed this more than I realized. Sophia smiled softly, reaching up to gently squeeze his hand. I'm glad I could be here with you. Today was a reminder that, even after the storm, there's beauty in the calm. They lingered for a moment, the setting sun painting the sky with brilliant hues of orange, pink, and purple. The promise of tomorrow was uncertain, but the bond they shared had grown stronger, tempered by hardship and now enriched by the memories of a day that reminded them of who they were and who they could be. As they parted ways for the night, each stepped into the darkness with a light in their hearts, a light fueled by love, by shared memories, and by the quiet certainty that no matter what the future held, they would always find their way back to each other. Thank you for joining today's Tea Time story. We hope you enjoyed this journey into the world of imagination and storytelling. Whether it made you smile, sparked a new thought, or simply gave you a moment to relax, we're grateful to have shared this time with you. Thank you for listening and being part of our story time. Keep dreaming, keep imagining, and we'll see you again for another magical tale soon. Until next time, take care and happy listening.